Hello, Ms. Shafinaz. Hello.
Hi, Aidar.
Welcome to our educational international interview. I'm happy to see you today. Today, our guest is the best international math teacher, right? And Ms. Shafinaz, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much. Not too sure about being the best math teacher, but I would hope so one day.
That's for me, Ms. Shafinaz. Definitely, that's for me. So, are you ready to
Thank
start
you.
our interview?
Yeah, sure. Let's start.
The first question, just tell us a little bit about yourself. What is your educational and professional background? And where are you
All
right
right.
now?
I am currently at Hanoi International School in Vietnam. This is my third and final year here. So next year I will be teaching in Japan, but now this is my last year, so I'm embracing every moment here. I am a MYP and DP mathematics teacher, and I've been teaching for over 15 years. Started as a lecturer in the university, but did not like it much. And then I went into international schools, which I love. So I received my degree and my master's from the UK. I studied in Leeds and in Nottingham University. That's about me.
That's great. That's so. Thank you so much. It's great, and I think that you are the best. You are the best, Ms. Shafina.
Thank you.
So tell me something a little bit about your professional goal. Maybe did you have a professional goal from the last year, 2020, and do you have for this year?
Yeah, so I my goals really is to just improve myself every time. So every step at improving myself, knowing that my students are successful, especially at the end of the 2 years DP program, that gave me a lot of satisfaction. But otherwise, last year I got to be the DP examiner, which I am very grateful for. So I am both IGCSE and DP mathematics examiner now, which
Wow.
I feel is an accomplishment and which would look good on my CV.
Definitely it's good. Definitely. I wish I have that. Um, so let's talk about the classroom now, about your students. All right. And as a teacher, do you give your students a second chance with the assignments, with the tasks, anything?
Definitely, definitely. So I do give them second chances in terms of instructions. Second chance in terms of differentiation as well, because that's also part of differentiating students in the classroom. So if they are completely lost in the classroom, then they will be given another chance. Either they can come to my classroom or some other resources will be shared with them so that they are not left behind. In terms of homework, also, yes, if they've got valid excuses, of course, they will be given extension. In terms of summative exams, no, unless they are absent because they are not well and the school knows about it. But otherwise, no. But formative assessments, they will always get second chances, yes.
That's great. I see now I have the vision of your classroom now. So do you also learn from your students? You said that this is the 15th year of teaching, right? So do you also learn from the students when during the classroom, when you talk to them, when they give the assignment, when they ask questions?
I do. Every time I do, and that amazed me. Like, being a math teacher, there are a lot of ways to solve math problems. And what I teach, sometimes I teach them one or two methods. But then sometimes they can look at it and come with a third method, which is way easier, way simpler, and it makes so much sense. So, yeah, I do constantly learn from my students too, and which is great. And I always feel like you should be the teacher and should be learning from you, especially, the high achievers. I learn a lot from my students too at times, yes.
That's great. That's great. Thank you for your answer, Ms. Shafinaz. So could you describe a professional teacher, your vision, how teachers should look like, act?
That's quite a tricky question because I would say all teachers should be professional already. How do I describe a professional teacher? They shouldn't be unprofessional, whatever unprofessional means.
I see. I think this is very like diplomatic question or maybe diplomatic answer in this case. So then I have to ask you, do you consider yourself as a successful teacher then?
Successful depends on many merits, depends on many measures. So success to me might not be as successful to another person, but then I would love to consider myself successful in what I do. And that comes from the feedback that I receive from the students and, relationship and how I do my work and all the reference I get from my colleagues, my head, etc. So, yeah.
All right, that's great. Ms. Shafinaz, how many international schools you've already changed? So how many you work in?
6.
6. Wow. So I think that now you have the vision of the ideal school structure. So how do you imagine the school now? In terms of the leadership team, in terms of teachers, colleagues, PDs, and students. So what do you think? How the ideal place will look like for you?
Leadership is very important in any international schools, and also relationship with your colleagues. The strength of the colleagues or teachers that every school would have. So in terms of the senior leadership team, they should know what they have to know. They should know exactly how managing an education institution look like. They should also know the ways to communicate with their teachers. Supporting your teachers is very important in any international schools, because in any international schools, parents are very demanding because they pay a lot of money. So there are some schools who feel like they need to listen to what parents say more than what the teachers say, which to me is not right. Okay,
I
so
see.
although a lot of international schools nowadays are money making institutions, therefore you need to listen to parents because that's where the money come from. I think if that's how international school operates, it's not going to be successful. Teachers will leave after 2 years because that's the minimum. I mean that's the contract term. So they are going to leave after 2 years. So that doesn't look good on any schools at all. And okay, so leadership, first of all, leadership. Second of all, infrastructure of the school. Nowadays, it's very important because there are way too many international schools. So, in terms of education quality, that is also important. But on top of education quality, parents are also looking at schools that are all equipped. They've got all the facilities for the students. So, that's also very important. Thirdly, where the school is located. So it can be located in the most perfect way, but in the most perfect place. But then, if it doesn't fulfill what the teacher wants in terms of a happy working environment, that's not going to work out as well. So there are a lot of other things that makes an international school perfect, besides the coffee machines, of course.
I see. I see, Ms. Shafinaz. I see that. So thank you. I think you elaborated a lot, actually. It's a good answer. And I definitely think that some leadership staff will look at your too. Um, now let's talk about the teacher's management skills. Like, do you usually take work home, or you finish, like, let's say you work till 5 p.m. or 3 p.m. I don't know. It depends on the school, right? So you
Yeah.
finish at 5, and that's class. You finished, so you do whatever you want after that. That's your family time. Or you just bring work home, you work at home. So about, do you distinguish between the family life and the work?
Yeah, I never have taken work home. I finish work at school, and I normally manage my time well so that I can finish everything before the due dates or before the deadlines. I do not believe in taking work home. We need to have balance, work and social life. It needs to be balanced. So yeah, no, I've never done that.
I see. I
The
see. I
only
have.
time I take work home is during distance learning time. Otherwise, no.
I see. I think that I had to learn from this point. Definitely.
Yeah.
Now about the future. So teachers usually like teach during the whole life, right? And how do you imagine your retirement? So that's when you are in 70s, 80s. So are you a mentor teacher, or are you still teaching, or you are doing some stuff that helps you at hobbies? So how do you picture that?
First of all, I hope I live that long. inshallah.
Inshallah.
Secondly, I don't think I'll be teaching at that age. My father is also an educator. He is 72 years old now and still teaching at home. So probably I will still teach to my nieces or nephews or grandchildren or whatever, but then I don't think I'll be teaching in schools anymore.
I see. I see. Thank you. Thank you. And one question maybe, could you please share one story that changed everything in the school setting? So that something happened and then you completely changed your decision, or it's like something that really a big story to share.
I don't really have such thing. I mean, always worked in I've always been happy wherever I work. If I leave after 2 years, it's not necessarily the school is bad. It's probably the school is perfect, but then it's hard to adapt to the country or so. But I don't really have a big story to tell about what things that changed my opinion or anything about anything so far. It's just an experience. You go to different country, you learn different culture, you've got different experience, and if you like it, you stay longer. If you feel like you want to move on, then you move on to a new place. So that's it.
All right. All right. Thank you, Ms. Shafinaz. And the last question.
Okay.
Have you ever thought of being a administrator or working in a leadership team, or are you happy with where you are right now?
I don't plan to be in the senior leadership team, but I think my next professional goal is to be head of department.
Ah,
So that's it. I love teaching. I love to be in the classroom. So I think even if I'm still the head of department for mathematics in any other schools I go to in the future, I would still have the opportunity to teach, and that's what I enjoy doing.
thank you so much, Ms. Shafinaz.
You're welcome.
Would you like to answer any question that I didn't ask you yet? Maybe you have something to tell and share.
Let me go through the questions again. Let's see.
I also have a question asking about what question you always ask yourself. So, what question you always ask yourself during the work or during the work with the students? Like,
Yeah, lately because I've been teaching my last two schools were all MYP DP schools. The question I always ask myself during lesson is, am I doing a correct inquiry based lesson with mathematics? So that is something that I'm still learning. I have been doing, but I'm still learning to improve the inquiry based teaching. That's the in thing now with all the MYP school. So it's quite challenging to move from the traditional way to teach math to move to inquiry style. So that is something I constantly check or ask myself if I'm doing it right, if I should change anything. So it's like a work in progress still.
all right, thank you so much, Ms. Shafinaz. I think that I learned a lot from you this time. Thank you for this
Oh,
educational conversation. It was really great to talk to you, and I hope
thank
that
you.
you will join our educational interview next year, maybe when you will be in Japan. I wish you all the best
Sure.
and
Thank you very
everything.
much.
Yeah, have a great journey
Thank you.
back. Thank you.
Thank you, Aidar. Bye.
Bye.